I'm 65, and I avoid people now. Here's why. Reaching this age brings profound changes to how we see life, relationships, and time itself. For years, I was the kind of person who always showed up for everyone, friends, family, neighbors, you name it. But over time, I realized that not every connection is worth the energy it takes to maintain. At 65, I found that stepping back from certain relationships isn't about bitterness or resentment. It's about protecting my peace, valuing my time, and focusing on what truly matters. In this video, I'll share the life lessons that led me to this decision, from the way time feels more precious as we age, to how relationships naturally change, and even why solitude has become a source of joy rather than loneliness. If this resonates with you or even challenges your perspective, you're in the right place. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Together, we'll explore how embracing these truths can lead to a simpler, more fulfilling life. Let's get started. One of the most eye-opening realizations of growing older is that time is no longer infinite. When we are young, we live as though we have an endless supply of days, wasting time on obligations we don't enjoy, conversations that lack meaning, and relationships that don't nourish us. But at 65, I have come to understand that every moment is precious, and how I choose to spend my time directly impacts my happiness. I no longer feel the need to say yes to everything. Instead, I carefully consider whether something is worth my energy, and if it isn't, I let it go without guilt. Time is not just measured in hours and minutes, it is measured in meaning. When I was younger, I filled my days with busyness, often mistaking activity for purpose. I attended social gatherings out of obligation, stayed in conversations that left me drained, and maintained friendships that no longer aligned with my values. I thought that being present for everyone made me a good person, but what I didn't realize was that in constantly giving my time away, I was neglecting the most important person, myself. Now, I see time as the most valuable asset I own, and I guard it fiercely. With this new perspective, I've learned to slow down and savor life in a way I never did before. I find joy in the quiet moments, sipping my morning coffee while watching the sunrise, walking in the park and truly noticing the beauty around me, or simply sitting in peaceful reflection without feeling the need to fill the silence with noise. These simple pleasures, which I once overlooked, now hold a richness I never imagined. The absence of unnecessary busyness has allowed me to fully experience the present moment. Instead of rushing through life, I now take the time to appreciate it. Another lesson I've learned is that not everyone or everything deserves a piece of my time. I no longer feel guilty for declining invitations to events that don't interest me or for stepping away from relationships that feel one-sided. I have realized that spending time on things that don't fulfill me is not just a waste, it is time stolen from the things that do. I choose to invest my time wisely, prioritizing people and activities that bring me genuine joy and peace. Some may interpret this as selfishness, but I see it as wisdom. At this stage in life, every moment counts, and I refuse to waste mine on things that no longer serve me. Instead of feeling pressure to do more, I find fulfillment in doing what truly matters, whether that means deep conversations with loved ones, pursuing personal passions, or simply embracing the beauty of solitude. Time is not about how much we have left, it's about what we do with it. And I have chosen to spend mine with intention, purpose, and peace. One of the hardest but most liberating lessons I've learned at 65 is that not every relationship is meant to last. For much of my life, I believed that maintaining relationships required constant effort, remembering every birthday, attending every gathering, and always reaching out, even when I was the only one doing so. I thought that being a good friend, neighbor, or family member meant sacrificing my own peace to meet the expectations of others. But over time, I realized something profound. Not all relationships are equal. Some nourish and uplift, while others drain and exhaust. And at this stage in my life, I have chosen to let go of the ones that no longer serve me. Letting go of relationships isn't about bitterness. It's about self-preservation. There was a time when I took it personally if someone drifted away. I wondered what I had done wrong, if I should have tried harder, or if I was failing as a friend or relative. But now, I see things differently. People change. I've changed. And sometimes, the kindest and most natural thing to do is to allow relationships to evolve or fade without forcing them to remain the same. Not all friendships are meant to last a lifetime. Some people are in our lives for a season, teaching us valuable lessons, sharing beautiful moments, and then moving on. And that's okay. I no longer hold on to relationships out of obligation or guilt. I've stopped chasing people who never check in, who only call when they need something, or who drain my energy with constant negativity. Instead, I've chosen to invest in the relationships that feel mutual, where there is equal effort, understanding, and care. A healthy relationship isn't one where I give endlessly without receiving in return. It's one where both people support, uplift, and respect each other. If I find myself in a relationship where I'm always the giver, always the one making an effort, I take it as a sign that it's time to let go. The beauty of this realization is that, while my social circle has grown smaller, it has also grown richer. The people who remain in my life are the ones who truly matter, the ones who value my time, who appreciate me for who I am, and who bring genuine joy and meaning into my days. These connections feel effortless in the best way possible, and they have taught me that quality always outweighs quantity. That doesn't mean there aren't moments of nostalgia. Sometimes, I think about friends I've lost touch with or family members whose paths have taken different directions. But instead of regret, I feel gratitude. Those relationships shaped me, taught me lessons, and gave me memories that I will always cherish. They were part of my journey, even if they aren't part of my present. So now, I choose to let go with grace. I focus on the relationships that bring me peace, and I release the ones that don't. Because at this stage in life, the people we surround ourselves with should add to our happiness, not take away from it. Trust is one of the most fragile yet vital aspects of any relationship, and at 65, I've come to understand just how precious it truly is. When I was younger, I trusted easily. I believed in the goodness of people, in the promises they made, and in the idea that loyalty was always reciprocated. I gave my time, my heart, and my efforts freely, assuming that the people in my life would do the same. But life has a way of teaching hard lessons, and one of the most painful has been learning that trust should never be given lightly. Over the years, I've been let down by people I never imagined would hurt me. A friend I thought was loyal valued what I could do for them more than who I was. A family member I stood by during difficult times drifted away when I needed them most. A colleague I once supported prioritized their own success at my expense. These experiences left scars that took time to heal and taught me to be more cautious with my trust. But despite the disappointments, I refused to let bitterness define me. Instead, I have learned to be more selective, to observe actions rather than just listen to words, and to give my trust gradually to those who prove they deserve it. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned is that trust isn't just about other people, it's about trusting myself. For too long, I ignored red flags, convinced myself that I was overreacting, or excused behavior that hurt me because I didn't want to believe the truth. But as I've grown older, I've learned to listen to my instincts. If something doesn't feel right, I no longer dismiss it. If someone repeatedly takes more than they give, I recognize that as a pattern, not an accident. And if a relationship leaves me feeling drained rather than uplifted, I no longer try to fix it. I simply walk away. That's not to say I don't believe in trust anymore. In fact, I still cherish the relationships where trust is strong and mutual. There are people in my life who have never given me a reason to doubt them, who have shown up when it mattered, and who have treated my trust as the precious thing it is. These people are rare, but they remind me that trust, while delicate, is not impossible to build. It simply requires time, consistency, and mutual respect. At this stage in my life, I no longer feel obligated to trust freely. I don't owe my trust to everyone simply because of history, family ties, or social expectations. I choose where I place it carefully, knowing that doing so protects my peace. And if that means keeping my circle small, so be it. Trust is not about quantity, it's about quality. And now, I prioritize trusting those who have earned it, including myself. At 65, it's impossible not to notice how much the world has changed. Life feels faster, busier, and more disconnected than ever before. People seem to be in a constant rush, juggling endless to-do lists and chasing goals that often leave them feeling empty. Conversations are shorter, attention spans are dwindling, and the warmth that once defined human connection seems to be fading. I've watched as the world has become more technology-driven, more transactional, and, in many ways, more impersonal. And yet, in the midst of all this change, I have made a choice. I don't have to change with it. I grew up in a time when relationships were built through face-to-face conversations, not text messages. Neighbors weren't just people who lived nearby, they were friends. Families gathered regularly, not out of obligation, but out of genuine love and desire to spend time together. There was an ease to life, a natural flow of connection that didn't require scheduling weeks in advance or competing with endless distractions. Now, I see people so consumed by their devices that they barely look up to greet one another. Social media gives the illusion of connection, yet people feel lonelier than ever. It's a strange paradox. We have more ways to communicate, yet meaningful conversations have become rare. Even family interactions have changed. It used to be that sitting together at the dinner table was a sacred part of the day. Now, family time is squeezed between work demands, notifications, and social media scrolling. I don't blame anyone for this shift. It's simply the way the world has evolved. But I no longer feel the need to keep up with it. I don't measure my worth by how busy I am or by how many people I interact with. I choose quality over quantity, depth over distraction. That's why I've stepped back from the noise. I don't need to be constantly reachable, responding to messages the moment they arrive. I don't need to fill every silence with empty conversation. Instead, I cherish the quiet moments that others often overlook. Sitting outside and listening to the birds, having a slow and meaningful conversation with someone who truly listens, or enjoying a book without interruptions. These are the things that make life rich. Technology has its benefits, of course. I'm grateful for the ability to video call my loved ones and reconnect with old friends through the internet. But I refuse to let the digital world replace real, human connection. I don't need to conform to a society that values speed over sincerity, convenience over closeness. So while the world keeps moving at a frantic pace, I choose to slow down. I choose to live on my own terms, prioritizing presence over productivity. The world may have changed, but I don't have to. I can still hold on to the values that bring me peace, the relationships that feel real, and the moments that make life truly meaningful. There was a time when I believed that being alone was something to fear. I associated solitude with loneliness, with emptiness, with the absence of connection. But as I've grown older, I've come to understand a truth that has transformed my life. Solitude is not loneliness. It is not a punishment, nor is it a sign of isolation. It is a sanctuary, a place where I have found peace, clarity, and a deeper understanding of myself. Loneliness is a longing, a feeling of emptiness that comes from needing companionship and not having it. Solitude, however, is a choice. It is the ability to sit with oneself and feel whole. It is the quiet space where I can reflect on my journey, appreciate the life I've lived, and embrace the person I've become. It is in solitude that I have learned to listen, to truly listen, to my own thoughts, my own needs, and my own heart. I no longer fear being alone because I have discovered the beauty in it. There is a profound sense of peace in waking up and knowing that my day belongs to me, that my time is my own, and that I am free from the noise of unnecessary obligations. I no longer feel pressured to fill every empty space with conversation or to seek validation through constant social interaction. Instead, I take joy in the simple moments, sitting on my porch with a warm cup of tea, feeling the cool morning air, watching the world move around me while I remain still. These are not moments of emptiness, they are moments of fulfillment. Solitude has also deepened my appreciation for the relationships that truly matter. When I do choose to spend time with others, I do so with intention. I am present, engaged, and genuinely connected because I am not drained by unnecessary interactions. I no longer force myself into social situations that feel forced or inauthentic. Instead, I prioritize meaningful conversations, heartfelt exchanges, and relationships that bring light into my life. This shift has also helped me rediscover myself. For so long, I was defined by my roles: parent, partner, friend, colleague. Now, in solitude, I have found the space to simply be. I have taken up hobbies that bring me joy, revisited passions I once set aside, and embraced the freedom to live life on my own terms. Many fear solitude because they see it as an absence, but I see it as an addition, a gift that allows me to truly connect with myself. It is not about withdrawing from the world, but about engaging with it in a more meaningful way. In solitude, I have found strength. I have found clarity. I have found joy. So no, I am not lonely. I am at peace. And if there is one thing I have learned at this stage of life, it is that peace, true, deep, unwavering peace, is worth more than anything else. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned at 65 is that choosing peace over people is not selfish, it's necessary. For most of my life, I believed in always being available. I wanted to be the dependable friend, the supportive family member, the person others could count on no matter what. I said yes when I wanted to say no. I tolerated conversations that drained me. I maintained relationships that took more than they gave. But with time, I realized something crucial. My peace is worth protecting, and not every relationship deserves a place in my life. Avoiding certain people is not about bitterness or resentment. It's about self-preservation. I have let go of the idea that I must stay in relationships simply because of history, obligation, or guilt. I no longer force myself into social situations that leave me feeling exhausted, nor do I entertain people who bring negativity into my life. If someone thrives on drama, constantly complains, or never reciprocates kindness, I no longer make space for them. I have learned that my time and energy are valuable, and I refuse to waste them on people who do not respect them. At this stage in life, I have stopped stretching myself thin trying to please everyone. I no longer feel the need to explain my choices to those who don't understand them. I don't attend gatherings out of obligation or engage in shallow conversations just to fill the silence. Instead, I seek relationships that are mutual, conversations that have depth, and interactions that leave me feeling uplifted rather than depleted. I surround myself with people who genuinely care, who respect my boundaries, and who bring light into my life. And if that means my circle is smaller, so be it, because what I have now is real. Choosing peace over people also means choosing myself. It means recognizing that I don't need external validation to feel worthy. For years, I placed too much value on being liked, on being seen as reliable, on making sure others were happy, even at my own expense. But now, I no longer define my worth by how much I give to others. I define it by how much I honor myself. If a relationship disrupts my peace, I let it go. If a situation makes me feel uneasy, I walk away. If a conversation drains me, I choose silence. This decision to prioritize my peace has brought me a sense of freedom I never knew was possible. My days are quieter but more fulfilling. My interactions are fewer but more meaningful. My mind is lighter, no longer cluttered with unnecessary obligations and expectations. So, I choose peace over people, not because I don't value relationships, but because I finally value myself. I refuse to sacrifice my well-being for the sake of keeping others comfortable. Life is too short to be spent in frustration, resentment, or exhaustion. At this stage, I choose what brings me joy. And nothing brings me more joy than living in peace. For a long time, I wondered if I was the only one feeling this way. The quiet withdrawal from social obligations, the desire for deeper, more meaningful connections, the decision to step back from relationships that no longer serve me. Was this just me, or was this a natural part of aging? But as I've spoken with friends, read stories from others in their 60s and beyond, and reflected on the shifts happening around me, I've realized something important. I am not alone. And if you have felt the same pull toward solitude, reflection, and selective relationships, then you are not alone either. There comes a point in life when we stop feeling the need to prove ourselves to others. We start choosing quality over quantity in every aspect: our friendships, our time, our conversations. The superficial connections that once seemed important lose their appeal, and we find ourselves drawn to peace, simplicity, and authenticity. Many people in our age group experience this shift, yet few talk about it openly. Society tends to glorify youth, social activity, and constant engagement, making those of us who prioritize solitude feel as though we are the outliers. But in reality, we are simply learning to embrace life differently. Letting go of certain relationships can feel like loss, but it is also growth. It is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that we are evolving, becoming more aware of what truly matters. If you have noticed yourself pulling away from social gatherings that once felt obligatory, if you find more joy in quiet mornings than in noisy rooms, if you are choosing to invest your time only in people who uplift you, know that you are not alone. This stage of life is not about how many people we have around us, but about the depth of our connections. It is about reclaiming our time, protecting our energy, and focusing on what makes us genuinely happy. It is about understanding that solitude is not loneliness but a powerful space for peace, clarity, and self-appreciation. So, if you felt this shift happening within you, embrace it. Do not feel guilty for prioritizing your own well-being. There is a quiet strength in choosing what brings you peace, and in doing so, you are part of a shared experience with countless others who have chosen the same path. You are not alone. You are simply stepping into a life of greater intention, and there is nothing more freeing than that. As I stand at this stage of life, I no longer see solitude as something to fear, nor do I regret the choices I've made to protect my peace. I have learned that life is not about how many people surround us, but about the quality of the moments we choose to live. Choosing to step away from certain relationships, from unnecessary obligations, and from the chaos of a fast-moving world has not made my life emptier. It has made it fuller. It has given me space to breathe, to reflect, and to embrace the beauty of living on my own terms. There was a time when I thought that always being available for others defined my worth. I believed that saying yes, even when I wanted to say no, made me a good person. But life has taught me otherwise. My value does not come from how much I give to others at the expense of myself. It comes from how well I honor my own needs, my own time, and my own peace. Letting go of relationships that no longer align with who I am today was not an easy choice, but it was the right one. And in doing so, I have made room for something far more precious: genuine connections, inner peace, and the freedom to live without unnecessary burdens. The truth is, we all evolve. The person I was at 30 is not the person I am today. My priorities have shifted, my outlook has deepened, and my appreciation for time has grown stronger. Every sunrise, every quiet cup of coffee, every meaningful conversation feels more precious because I have chosen to live with intention. I no longer chase approval or try to hold onto relationships out of obligation. Instead, I allow life to flow naturally, welcoming what brings me joy and releasing what does not. If you are feeling this shift too, know that it is not a sign of loneliness. It is a sign of growth. It is an invitation to live life with greater clarity, to choose what truly nourishes your soul, and to embrace the peace that comes with letting go of what no longer serves you. Life is too short to be spent in frustration, in resentment, or in the company of people who drain you. Instead, let this chapter be one of simplicity, gratitude, and authenticity. Because in the end, the greatest gift of growing older is the courage to live exactly as we choose. Thank you for following us till the end. Don't forget to show some love by clicking the like button and subscribe. This supports the channel and allows me to continue creating content for you. Leave your thoughts or comments below. Feel free to express yourself and stay positive. See you next time.